I want to talk about both Jaylen Brown and Jayson-Tatum because neither of them was like particularly efficient. Jaylen was 6 for 15, but he was 4 for 7 from 3. Tatum was 6 for 14, but he was 3 for 5 from 3. And I think that's really interesting because I think some of these guys like Tatum and Brown both were not supposed to be 3-point shooters coming into their careers. Jaylen was I think like 34% in college, or not. It wasn't even that. I don't think he was. Not a great.
I feel like when if you want to go back to when they drafted him, he was just known for a guy who can kind of get to the rim and just a freak athlete.
And I mean we saw him back in high school. Like we've seen him a bunch. So now he's knocking. I mean he's a knockdown shooter. Like when he gets a kick out pass, like you think to yourself, it's probably going in. I mean he's I got the stat here. He's 38.3% for the year according to Cleaning the Glass, which puts him in the 67th percentile among wings. Yeah. And that's really good. I mean, especially given where he came from and sort of the trajectory that his three-point shot is on. To be 67th percentile in wings. Wings are, in the NBA, if you're a wing who can't shoot, you're a huge liability. So to be like in the upper, the upper echelon, he's not like 90s, which we'll get to with Jayson-Tatum in a minute here.
Which, exactly. I mean.
But to be 67 percentile, that's really good.
Right.
That's a super positive sign. The defense he's been showing. I think he's the third best player on the Celtics right now, and I'm not sure it's that close. Like the defense, the offense, it's all right there.
Well, that's like as you kind of said. I mean, I think everyone was kind of expecting big things from him. I think people were really kind of impressed or maybe even surprised from his first year, just so how he kind of fit in with the lineup. But I just don't think anyone kind of expected him to take this next step. I think another year of NBA experience under your belt, you're kind of more used to it. Just the kind of the grind of the season, and he's really an athletic freak, so you can kind of get his points. You see he's knocking down, threes at, this regularity. I mean, that's like a whole new facet of his game that I don't think anyone was expecting this early. You can kind of see, where he has the tools and the potential to be a guy who kind of works on his shot further down the road. It's kind of like the Marcus Smart syndrome, where every year it was like, it's sooner or later it's gonna, work out for him, and he's gonna be a pretty reliable guy. I mean, Jaylen Brown's kind of already hit that level already. It's his second year, and as you said, he's already, great driving to the rim still, and he's ridiculous on defense. The fact that he's made this step and really just open up a whole new facet of his game in his second year. I mean, that's crazy for the Celtics in terms of just having a guy you can rely on like that.
Yeah, and especially to replace somebody like Avery Bradley. That was something that Brad Stevens talked about 100 times during the preseason. Was we need Jaylen to come in and we need him to be a lockdown defender. That was the big thing because they knew that they were losing a lockdown defender in Avery Bradley. And obviously, Bradley, numbers-wise, it's been a big thing in Detroit that he actually makes your defense worse when he's on the court. It's not the case for Jaylen because Jaylen has all of the things that Bradley doesn't. He's taller by a good 5 inches, longer arms, and he can do all of the things that Bradley can do. With maybe the exception of some of those really flashy guarding Kyrie in the backcourt kind of plays. So I've just been so impressed by him. I think that he's on an unbelievable trajectory. Should get to Tatum too because he was flashy down the stretch because he was knocking down all the shots. He was 3 for 5 from 3, and the same stat as Jaylen, who was 67th percentile among wings. Tatum is in the 92nd percentile among forwards shooting the 3. So that's a little bit different than wings. That includes some of the power forward sort of guys. Kind of that 3-4. And again, these stats from Cleaning the Glass. That is spectacular.
Freakish.
And it really. And it speaks to how well he's gotten over the rookie wall because he was hitting that rookie wall hard. He was really struggling. You could kind of see it in his shot. He just didn't look confident. He was kind of bricking a lot of them. And then today, all that was out the door. He was ready to shoot. He was ready to get his buckets. And I mean, we've talked a lot about Jayson-Tatum this season. I think he's going to be pretty good. But I think seeing him kind of get over that rookie wall now, that's huge for the Celtics as the playoffs approach.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, when you look at when they drafted him, people were excited for a guy who's kind of give you that instant offense where, he was allowed to be able to make his own shot. I don't think anyone's expecting him to, knock down threes, this easily. And just even down the stretch, I know he played a big role in the kind of that 11-0 run they had there in the fourth quarter where they really kind of cut into that lead, cut into the lead and made it really competitive down the stretch. So just his composure is one thing that kind of impresses you, and the fact that he's able to kind of play in crunch time and really not look like a rookie out there. You add on the fact that he's knocking down threes like that. I mean, the fact that the Celtics have him and Brown so polished right now at this age. I mean, that's ridiculous when you look at just the way this team's composed. I mean, it's not shocking that the Celtics are really fun and they're going to be really good for a long time. But when you kind of take a step back from the day-to-day grind and just see how well set up they are, I mean, it's ridiculous in terms of how much cash they have right now.
Yeah, it's completely absurd. we won't get into it now, but it also speaks to how expensive this roster is going to be in a couple of years.
Oh, fine.
We'll move on. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We got other things to talk about.